Great awakening, light lords, grand rising to those who have not yet awoken, to know that duality is an illusion. And in order to improve our lives as a collective and individually, we must always look towards betterment to expand our minds and expand ourselves outside of the illusion and operate with purity of mind and oneness, connected with the highest extent of what we see as balance within our own selves. Now, duality is an illusion, and the pure fact that you can even think of no thing shows the illusion and its effect on our perception all the time. Us being different prisms to reflect the energy in different ways, different shapes, different angles. We may all make different sounds. See, we all have different vocal cords and different parts of our bodies. They're all the same parts, but they're all different at the same time. And this is the illusion, the different formations of the self to communicate with itself. Now, the illusion of duality is created simply from self wishing to communicate with itself. The oneness, the no thing, the reason you can even describe a no thing is because you have a concept of a thing due to the receptivity or the reflection of the expression of the zero. The zero reflecting, pushing out information, reflecting back to itself creates duality, the illusion of duality. It's just like a mirror. It's the oneness of self creating a mirror and bouncing the energy back off of oneself and communicating with oneself to increase consciousness, to increase betterment, to have fulfillment in oneself. This is why in the Bible it says, the Lord says, my word will go out. My word will go out and shall not return to me void. It shall not return to him void. The word shall not return to you void because it is imprinted within your nature. It is imprinted within the oneness to reflect back to itself, to create the illusion of a separatism or a separate self in order to see oneself, in order to be more creative and make oneself more than what it actually is, which is no thing. You have to create a thing in order for you to even know that you are no thing. You must create an illusion in order for you to know that you are the light. Because within darkness, you see nothing. You see no thing. Which you're actually seeing something, but the only reason you know that you're seeing something is because the information is being pushed out and reflected back, communicated back, creating a monologue through a dialogue. You are communicating with yourself constantly through different ways, multiple different ways. And you have one self. But even the one is illusion. Because in no thing, there is no communication. In no thing, all knowledge is already completed. All knowledge is already known, so there is no reason to have it. It is the paradox of the complementary contradictions of existence. See, in order to actualize this, to see it for yourself, is to actually aim towards understanding your own mind, understanding your specific parts of yourself, the part of you that is that one, that comes out of the zero or the nothing. See, first there is no thing. First there is just space. There is empty space. There is darkness. But once that darkness is inverted and projected, that light, projected that word, projected that vibration, projected that something that it can perceive back to itself, to know itself. That is the one. That something is the oneness. That oneness from alone, from being alone within the darkness, the no thing, becomes the all one because it's reflecting everything back. It's reflecting everything back to that zero, which is infinite, infinity. Realizing this, you can always constantly look for ways to better yourself. Look for different ways to use the different parts of yourself and the parts of your mind, to use them to better the communication between those parts of yourselves, to better the communication between the manifestations or expressions of those different parts of yourself that you see through the illusion of duality as separate from yourself. See, like if you know that you are everything, if you know that you are self and self is all there is, then you will already do your best to communicate as best as you can with yourself. If you do something that's someone else or another part of yourself that you see as outside of yourself, as another person thinks that you made a mistake, and that person also sees life as everything is self and looking for constant betterment, and through that vision saw a part of itself make a mistake, then you can have proper dialogue, knowing that everything is for betterment, knowing that you are constantly learning, both of those beings, knowing that they are constantly learning, knowing that everything is self, knowing that they are each other's self, that they are really each other's self, and that duality is an illusion, only an expression of the oneness being formed uniquely as an individual in order to communicate with self to create more righteously divided information. Once this thought wave or thought form, once this consciousness, this vibration of everything is for betterment and we are constantly learning, and this vehicle that I'm in, this physical body, this vehicle is only a conduit for the expression of my highest morals and principles that I can attain and stay in balance with in order to constantly expand my mind and become more conscious of everything in reality. Then those two beings will communicate very well with each other. We'll communicate righteously. See, that's why, everything is divided, but you have to righteously divide things. You have to righteously divide them. Okay? Everything stems from a source. Everything is oneness. So when you get the mentality through positive mental transmutation, you get the mentality of the fact that even though I see this illusion, you can see the illusion. Once you come to this fact, you can, and you keep doing these practices of knowing thyself and seeing this perspective, You can see the illusion and know that it's an illusion completely. And that's where the fun begins. That's when you know it's a game. And you're leveling up and you're constantly getting points and you're going through levels and complete missions and objectives. You're righteously dividing then. You're righteously dividing then. Because you know that no matter whether you're with a protagonist or with a group of so-called friends or a family, or whether you're up against an antagonist or a negative person, you'll know that it all stems from the source of all that is. It all stems from the I am that I am, the being, the oneness, the no thing, the zero, the zero-ness. And then it goes to one, and then that one breaks up into infinity, which is one, which is all one, which is zero, which is just zero reflecting back to itself. So it's really just zero. There's really no thing. To get the complete understanding of this, you will have to experience it. And I have given the techniques to experience the void. If you can find a sensory deprivation tank, that will help out a lot. But for those who don't have a sensory deprivation tank, you will have to go into a deep meditation to experience this. And once you connect with this reality, once you connect with the consciousness, this consciousness of balance and oneness of all things, the more you connect with it, the more that thought will frequently move, the more the thought frequency, that thought form, and that consciousness will frequently attach itself to you, which is you. But basically you will peel back all of the covers. Man, this freaking train. Basically you will peel back all of the covers to realize who you actually are, which is no thing, which is nothing with a name. Your sets of principles, your sets of morals and principles, a being of complete all-knowing potential, of complete potential of knowing everything and being anything, filtered through a prism within the matrix of illusion, of duality, of dual selves, of many different selves combining with each other, colliding with each other, and transforming. It's all just energy transforming. Okay? Reaching an equilibrium. It's all energy transforming. And once you gain this rightly divided mindset, this non-dual mindset, this is when debates and arguments and divisions and traditions will change. The new era will come. All of these fake tools that we use, these lower vibrations of ourselves, these cell phones, these vehicles that we have that's messing up our natural environments, that will all be reintegrated into natural philosophy and natural living. Everything will become natural again. Everything will be in balance with nature. Everything will be in balance with nature. We will have vehicles in balance with nature, phones in balance with nature. Our bodies will be in balance with nature to the point where we probably won't even need, cell phones or vehicles. But it's all for expression. It's all for expression and betterment. It's all for expanding. It's all for reflecting. Reflecting, you must reflect. Okay? You must reflect. And once you go through the void, you will see that there's infinite dimensions. There's infinite dimensions, infinite planets, stars. It's constantly expanding and spaced out. It's all constantly expanding and spacing itself out, creating its own space. Everything is creating its own space because it only comes from one space, of spacelessness and timelessness. The I am that I am, that the I am that I am is in everything. There can be nothing else. There can be nothing else. Like, you won't get it until you experience it. You won't get it until you actually put it into practice. Put these thoughts into practice, especially if you have resonated with the information that I've given. Especially if you've resonated with the information from others that speak about this type of stuff. If you've already resonated with it, then you need to put it into practice and repeat it over and over again so it can become a habit, in turn changing your manners and your character. Okay? And give you a more conscious awareness. So that leading you closer to the zero era, which they call heaven. The zero era, where everyone knows the source. Everyone knows where they're from, but they're using their personality, their ego. They're using their natural egos to better each other constantly, and better the world around them, and better nature, better everything. Now, a lot of people say, you will be released from reincarnation and you won't have to, come back into the earth plane. Now, see, that's half truth. That's half truth. A lot of monks, Buddhist monks, and Hinduism, a lot of spiritual philosophies, Eastern philosophies talk about reincarnation, and if you do certain things, attaching to like non-dualism, then you won't come back, and you'll live like on a spiritual plane or something. But that's half truth, man. You got to see everything. Everything. This is the spiritual plane. It's just we on such a low vibration. We're vibrating so low that nothing seems spiritual anymore. Nothing seems supernatural anymore. Nothing seems like nothing. Like, there's a reason for everything. And people are saying they're bored. They're getting more bored. They're becoming like robots. They're losing their feelings. This is for a reason. Everybody, because the information is expanding and imploding simultaneously. So there's people that are getting to the point where that's all they have to see. That's all they're gonna see. They have to see the oneness. They have to see that everything this is an illusion. They have to see that this is an illusion used for expressing oneself and receiving oneself, communicating back to self constantly. Infinite amounts of information, like infinite bliss. Like, this is the game. This is like the best game ever made. Like, this is the only game. It's the game that always existed and will forever exist. And when you come into this physical plane, when you physically manifest, they call it reincarnation. Nature always recycling. But the thing is, you're not released. You're not literally released from reincarnation, because energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed from one form to the next. So what you're really doing is you're becoming so conscious of reincarnation, you're becoming so conscious of the recycling energy of nature, that when you recycle, that when you go into when you recycle back, okay, you will be fully conscious. You will be fully conscious of recycling back. And you can see this. This is proven. Like, this is proven. You can go on YouTube right now. You can go on Google. Go online. Our phones are libraries, man. Our phones are libraries. Okay. Go online and look up children remembering past lives. Children talking about past lives. Just look up children in past lives. There are children, plenty of children that have been born, since I don't even know how long, like 1700s, 1900s. Like, it's a whole bunch of information. It's just a whole bunch of information on children that have been born knowing their past lives, that can lead you back to their bodies. you know what I'm saying, back to the where they were buried, that can lead you to like real stuff. This is real. Like, people think this is not real because we're vibrating so low. We've been shot by our lower selves with so much fear and locked down our genes so much to where we can't understand it. Because if you don't have the genes to understand something, if you don't have the dominant gene, then you won't understand it. Okay. But you can build genes through epigenetics. But my point is, reincarnation is just a concept. It's a construct to keep the illusion going. It's without beginning or end. Okay, it's a construct to keep the game of betterment constant. Okay, we're constantly bettering. Okay, it's a game to constantly reflect the zero, constantly reflect infinity. Okay. I am John Mashak, and I am here to live out and teach higher wisdom as an example for the collective consciousness. Share and subscribe this video, man. Share this video. Share my channel. Subscribe to my channel. Let's get this information out here, and let's start seeing things from the oneness perspective, from non-duality. Non-duality is what will help you become conscious to not have to reincarnate, for those who, believe in reincarnation and stuff like that. So you won't have to come back. You won't have to come back, not remembering so much stuff. Like, you won't have to come back just, unconscious, basically. You won't have to come back unconscious. Or subconsciously, so unconscious of really what's going on, that you will have to, rebuild your morals and values again. You won't have to do that. Okay. Now, what you do now, will set you up. What you do now, everything is cause and effect. So what you do now is setting you up for your next return, for your next return. From the seen to the unseen and back. Okay. So just know that each action you do and everything you set up symbolically around you that represents your morals and principles, that it's affecting you. Okay. You're not just living for nothing. Everything has a purpose. Okay. Even no thing has a purpose. Even meaninglessness is meant for something. Everything is meant for something. That's the paradoxical complementary contradiction of everything. Okay. Everything is fire, man. Everything is great. Everything is tight. Like, everything is hot, cold. Like, whatever you want to say, make it cool. You know what I'm saying? We make it cool. You know what I'm saying? That's why, we are beings of melanin, and melanin, directs things exactly where they need to go. We make everything rhythmic. Okay, that's what we do. So yeah, I love myself, man. Share and subscribe, man. Peace.